All right, welcome into watching. I just got back from the Yes Network studios, but I could not wait to make this video 1 second longer. It's The Miz. Everybody knows what they clicked on when they clicked on this thumbnail. He had one of the best games in the history of baseball tonight, and really a historic game due to his velocity, fastest velocity ever for a starting pitcher tonight. Threw 105 miles an hour tonight. So we're going to get into it. You guys know him. He's a freak of nature, born April 3rd, 2002, 24 years old. From Blue Springs, Missouri, drafted by the Brewers in the second round of the 2022 MLB draft. Made his debut last season, 2025. Was an all-star, was a little bit controversial. I have a feeling it will not be very controversial this year, as he has been incredible this season. This is the numbers prior to tonight's game. 13 starts, 1.50 ERA to lead the league, 78 innings pitched, 116 strikeouts, and all those numbers are improved following tonight's game, which he did versus the Phillies. He put up a Maddux tonight, folks. 9 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 15 strikeouts, and only 95 pitches. 15 strikeouts and 95 pitches does not make sense. That is not a normal thing. Here's the breakdown. I mentioned it was record-breaking velocity that we're about to watch. He threw 73% four-seam fastballs, so 69 four-seam fastballs, and averaged an incredible 101.7 miles an hour on that. That's truly something we've never seen before. He topped out at 104.5 miles an hour. Yeah, you could round that up to 105 if you so choose to, which I sort of do, because it's insane. He also threw 11 sliders, 7 cutters, 4 changeups, and 4 curveballs for good measure. It's really ridiculous because guys that throw this hard don't throw strikes like this. 0 walks is wild. As for the whiffs, 57% whiff on fastball, 23 swing and misses on his fastball, and only 40 swings. Yep, the fastball's pretty special, all right, and 25% whiff on his slider. First pitch strikes, check that box as well. 70% of those, 19 of the 27 he faced. He induced 47% chase. So when you're up there, you don't have a lot of time to decide. You just kind of have to blindly swing. And let's get into it. He faced a pretty good Phillies team tonight, and it's going to be very interesting to watch just how much this is like a knife through butter. Obviously, we know the final stat line, but let's see how dominating it really is. And here we go. Miz, first batter, is Kyle Schwarber, and the first pitch of the game is 103.4, a hair low, and we're underway. So 103.4 and another 103.4 to start the game. He immediately falls behind 2-0 on Kyle, and then he's going to go to 104 in a 2-0 count. That's the fastest pitch I've ever seen him throw this year, and it comes on the third pitch of this game. 104 miles an hour, almost 2,800 RPMs. Kyle's a dead red fastball hitter, and he didn't swing at that. He wanted to get a good look at one. Even Kyle knows he's not likely to be on time. So here's the first swing of the game. 103.5 to the up and in corner. I feel like that's about as good as you can do. And actually, he's a little early, I think, on this. But yeah, 4 fastballs to start the game. And a 5th one coming right here at 104.5. That is that max velo. That's the fastest pitch ever thrown by a starting pitcher right there. 104.5, 2,760 RPM. 7.6 feet of extension. Schwarber's pissed. He wants to argue it right off the rip about a check swing. Thing is, this pitch was actually touching the strike zone anyway. So this is the first out of the game. Let's watch it one more time, and then let's watch this delivery from the side at 104.5. Sheesh. All right, here it is. Fastest pitch ever thrown by a starting pitcher, and this is what it looked like from the side. Honestly, it looks just like his delivery all the time, but it seems like there's no limit to it. Clean, on time, incredibly long, incredibly whippy. Man, it's just so natural. It really is. It's so natural. This guy was built in a lab to throw baseballs fast. All right, here's Trey Turner. You're next. 103.6, just a bit inside, and then 102.3, his slowest pitch of the game so far. Pours it in there for strike 1. Here comes our first non-fastball. It's a 96-mile-an-hour cutter. Now, we've noticed that sometimes his breaking ball metric is more sliderish. This one's, I guess, kind of a hybrid at 7 inches of vert. But at the speed it plays like a cutter if he throws it up in the zone, even with slider action, because you just don't see breaking pitches at this speed. So 96.6 on the breaking ball, and then he's going to come back with the 103.5. Above the zone, you have no shot. Fastball. So punches the first 2 batters. I mean, this is just completely unfair. It's not just the velocity, but it's also the extension. So that ball probably feels like 106. And frankly, like nothing these hitters have ever seen, and that's saying a lot because I see velocity every day. All right, here's Harper, 104.2, swing and miss. Harper is underneath that pitch, and that is kind of middle down. That's hard to do to the great Bryce Harper, but he is nowhere close to that on that first pitch fastball. Holy cow, 2,800 RPM on that? Also superhuman. He's going to back that up with the first slider we see of the day. Oh my God, 91 miles an hour with negative IVB following 103 mile an hour fastball, 104 mile an hour fastball, excuse me. This is a legitimate nasty pitch in its own right, and it gets a second swing and miss. So he swung under the fastball, over the slider, and now 104-1, and we'll see you later. 3 pitches, 3 swings. The phenom Bryce Harper wasn't anywhere near him, and we are in a new era of baseball at this moment. We've never seen anything like this. This is beyond. What a first inning. Strikeout, 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 all very wealthy players. Schwarber, Turner, and Harper, all with $100 million plus contracts to hit baseballs for a living, and they looked like little leaguers. All right, here's Marsh. He's been incredible this year. He's going to get the business as well. Fastball. Here's a curveball at 89. That has -9 vert. That's a good pitch in its own right. And then another fastball. So punches the first 4 batters of the game, and a few of them on 3 pitches. Just ridiculous. You have no shot at getting your barrel to the up and away 103 mile an hour pitch. And what makes him truly unique, I mean, yeah, it's the velocity, but it's also that he's throwing strikes. He pounded the strike zone in this game. What did we say? 70% first pitch strikes. That means he's dictating. They have to be swinging. And that's the only way you're going to be able to achieve a Maddux. Because most guys that throw this hard, it's foul ball, foul ball, foul ball, 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 ball. Not Miz. He's coming right at you. Here's another 3-pitch at bat. This is the first ball put in play. Bohm is able to chop it to Joey Ortiz. That's the second out of the inning. And here is Stott. 102.3 at the top. 102.4. Middle away. Late on that. And then he'll go to the curveball for strike 3. So, punches him out looking. 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. Good call by William Contreras here. You can see when he throws a non-fastball, they're even more helpless than when he throws the fastball because you have no choice but to look for the fastball. So, it's about as good of a 2 innings as you're ever going to watch, and he throws 7 more after that. Here's the 3rd inning. Another first pitch strike, 102. Now to the cutter. You know, for me, that might be a really dangerous location with 89, 90, but with 98 on your cutter, you're just not going to be very accurate going after that. So it gets to 0-2, and then he'll punch him out with 103. So yet another strikeout. It's really a simple game for him. And as long as he's throwing his first pitch strikes, these boys are going to be in trouble. Another first pitch strike here to JT, 102.7. 102 coming. You know, we have plenty of velocity in the game nowadays, but this is a different level. This is a different thing. This is not normal. There's nothing normal about this. So, a whole bunch of fastballs to JT, and then he's going to wipe him out with a slider. So they just came out with a new miss distance statistic on Baseball Savant, and I have to say, it won't be long before his breaking pitches are going to rate very, very high in that stat. Because when you're cheating on a fastball, you have no chance to adjust to a breaking ball that comes out of that same window. And that's what we see here. Check out the flail from JT. Yep, you're just not on that. So yet another strikeout, this one on the breaking ball, and now we are up to Crawford in the 9-hole. Ooh, a first pitch ball. Doesn't stay wild for long, though. Pours another fastball right in there, and he's just so grooved. I'm going to have him on my show this week, and I'm very curious to talk to him about his command journey and kind of how he's gotten himself so well organized to throw strikes with these limbs and this body that he has. All right, another strikeout coming here, also on a fastball. So first trip through the order, he goes 9 up, 9 down. How many strikeouts is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the first 9. 8 of the first 9 guys struck out in this game. All right, here's the one and only hit. It's Kyle Schwarber, and it's on a slider, and he's able to kind of shoot that to center. So turns out he would have thrown a no-hitter perfect game without this hit. You got to give credit to Schwarber. He's not waiting around. But I also got to wonder a little bit of if he did him a favor here with this slider. I guess he probably did a little bit. So base hit there by Schwarber. That's the only base runner of the game. And here's Trey. First pitch, 97-mile-an-hour cutter, emergency hack, foul ball. Check out the hack here from Trey. Didn't mean to do that, but again, you see the aggression because he's throwing so many strikes, and I think that's the second part of this. He's not just a sideshow freak who can throw hard. He's a good pitcher. He throws strikes. He's got good other pitches. He's doing the fundamentals. And there's another strikeout. This one was actually a misfire. This ball didn't even come out of the hand clean. Completely misses his location, but even when he's not clean with his timing, he's still over 100 miles an hour and gets it to an impossible to hit location. So another strikeout there. And here's Harper. 100.4 down. And 95-mile-an-hour cutter here. That's a ball. They do challenge, but that one is a little bit off the plate, so they lose their first challenge. We go to 1-1. Here's another fastball to Bryce. This one's a ball, even though it was in the zone. And then Bryce is going to go ahead and put in play this cutter right here. Probably a pretty good pitch to hit. But once again, you have not a lot of time to judge where you want your bat to be in space when these pitches come in at this speed. In a bubble, this is probably a location that Bryce hammers. But again, this ball's moving very fast, and you're trying to make a very acute, barrel adjustment as you're swinging through. And it's just not likely you're gonna be very accurate when you're talking about this little amount of time to adjust. So a double play, and that keeps him on the minimum batter's face through 4. Here comes the 5th inning, and his first fastball below 100 miles an hour comes in the 5th inning, which is it's just crazy to think about. He literally hadn't thrown a fastball below 100 until this first pitch one to Marsh, and he blows his doors off at that. And now, just for fun, he's going to go to the changeup. And not for nothing, it's a good changeup. This pitch is, maybe it'll become a big part of his game in the future. It's almost kind of funny that he threw it now because he's doing him a favor here, but I think he was a little bored. 91-2 with a legitimately good metric and a legitimately solid separation between his fastball and his changeup. So, again, he's not just this blind chucker guy, which we saw in baseball history from the past. Guys who are really big, throw 100 but have no idea where the ball's going. And in their dominating outings, you might see 12 strikeouts and 5 walks or something like that. He went 15 strikeouts, no walks in this game. So respect the level of command and body control as well as the velocity. That's all I'm saying. 101 up top. Doors. See you later. Who's next? Alec Boehm. Starts him with a get-me-over slider. Very nice. And then he's going to double up on that. And he's actually getting Boehm out twice in this game on non-fastballs. So breaking ball. Weak pop up to Terang for the second out of the 5th. And now we're up to Bryson Stott. Another first pitch strike. Just so dialed in with his delivery. It's insane. And I think the idea behind this and his setup is just to make it as easy as possible for him to throw strikes, as he immediately then misfires 2 pitches there. He'll go ahead and fix that right here and get himself right back in the zone. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here after we see the result of this flyout from Stott, completely beat by the fastball. So Miz is on the first base side of the rubber, which basically what he's trying to do is line up his arm so he can just bring it straight down and just bring the ball straight down into the strike zone. I know his arm pat's actually a little bit outside this, but he's trying to create as much room for himself for his arm, where all he has to think about is slicing his catcher in half. And once he has that type of mentality, if he misses a little right, misses a little left, is still in the zone. And for him, he doesn't have to be perfect because of the stuff he possesses. So he knows that, and he sets himself up accordingly. Like this one, he pulls this pitch but it's still touching the strike zone, right? So it's a great strategy by him, and he's faced the minimum through 5. All right, this is probably the longest at-bat I've seen yet. Rincones Jr. First pitch slider ball. Second pitch cutter. That was the first pitch, I think, below 90 that we saw, that first slider. So a couple firsts, here and there. It's funny, I was doing the Yes Network pre and post for the Yankees tonight with Todd Frazier. He said he was on the field when Aroldis Chapman threw the fastest pitch ever recorded, the 105+ mile-an-hour pitch for the Reds. So we talked a little bit about that because this is the closest thing we've ever seen, and he's doing it for, in this case, 9 innings at a clip. I do think he can challenge Aroldis for fastest pitch. I mean, he's right there. He's pretty damn close. And really, it's just incredible. All right, here's a curveball strikeout. This was a pretty good at-bat by Rincones. But again, he's more than just a fastball pitcher. You show him a little something at the plate, he's got some other wrinkles for you, including a little backdoor curveball that there's no way you can swing at out of his hand for the freeze in the first out of the 6th. Here is JT, who he went a whole bunch of fastballs and then wiped him out with a slider the first time. There's the slider. He's underneath that. Back up to 101 on this fastball, and he's back in that very familiar 1-2 count. Slider coming here. That was probably hittable, but you see the swings are just so defensive. Nobody is getting their A swing off versus Miz. Everybody's thinking, how can I be short to the ball and just touch it? Even Schwarber on the hit he got, he's a guy who swings big a lot. He didn't swing big at all, and that's what you see here from JT. He's like, I'm just going to be as short as I can to this ball. He is able to put it in play, but it's a pretty harmless fly out. And I'm just wondering, what's the approach against him? How do you defeat it? Because you can't stand there and try to walk anymore. There was a little bit of that going on last season, but this season, no. You got to go ahead and hit it. So you got to sit on the fastball. You got to try to stay on top of it. I guess that's the thought, but it's way easier said than done, especially when you're going to go up to 102 midway through this at-bat and then locate this pitch right above the zone. I mean, check out the amount of ride and, the way this ball rises. We all know it doesn't actually rise due to gravity, but that perceived rise is super real. And again, I just want to highlight this aspect of it, the extension, 7-6 extension. That is literally tops in the game, him and Tyler Glasnow. So what that does is it makes all of your pitches look even faster. So as impressed as I am by the number, the extension makes it that much nastier. And here's another one, 102.8. Up and in, and Crawford's nowhere near that. So minimum through 6, showing no signs of slowing down, and we're on to the 7th, and here's Schwarber. So Schwarber got the hit on a first pitch breaking ball his last at-bat. This time this is a challenge heater. I think everybody in the ballpark knew he was getting a fastball here. Miz pitching with a 6-run lead. Schwarber's not willing to wait around, so that was an interesting gambit right there, but still late. Foul ball. And here's another. Completely underneath that, even though that's right down the middle. And then he's going to punch him out on a third one. And this one's even lower. So he actually went from up to low in this at-bat, and that makes no sense. But, man, 3 fastballs, third time through the order to Schwarber. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. All right, Trey Turner, he struck out the first 2 at-bats. Tries to get on time for that first one. And again, it's just so hard to judge, and you have literally no time. You have no time. He's cocked and ready to fire before the ball's even released. He's swinging out of hand here, and yet he's still super late on this high pitch. It's just wild. All right, he's going to put this one in play at least. Already 13 Ks at this point. So the Phillies were like not trying to set a 21 strikeout record, which in my mind, if anybody's going to do it, I do think it might be Misiorowski. It really might be. All right, here's Harper. Swing and miss, and he's going to put a changeup in play. Honestly, it's a really good changeup. This is an incredible 2-pitch sequence that's completely unfair. The whole game, you're gearing up for fastballs, right? Here's one, you gear up, you're late. So you stay gearing up, you say, you know what, I'm probably getting another one. Not only does Miz not throw a fastball and throws a changeup, but look at the location. Look at the location. Perfect below the zone. All Harper can do is roll it over. This is such a feeble swing, but there's honestly, there's nothing you can do. I feel like after the game, these hitters, very easy to flush this one. You know what? We're not going to see another Misiorowski the rest of the season, so you can flush it. Then he gets a first pitch out on a slider to Marsh. For me, that's the only vulnerability is when he goes to soft early in the count and guys can put it in play, which is kind of crazy to say. As here we are in the 8th inning. Yeah, one pitch out to start off the 8th inning. So, I mean, to be this efficient also is just, it doesn't really compute. Typically, like I mentioned before, a 15 strikeout outing, 9 innings, you're lucky to do that in less than 120 pitches. You really are. But when you're this efficient with it and you get this many swings, anything, I guess, is possible. Honestly, a shame this wasn't a perfect game. This was almost the most dominating game, I think, in Major League history. I know there's been some 20 strikeout games, but you think about the combination of the efficiency, lack of walk, and strikeout, it's got to rank up there. Bill James' game score on this was 100, which those happen a couple times a decade. So that's how special this outing that we're watching is. All right, 2 outs in the 8th. Stott gets to a 2-0 count. It's probably the second 2-0 count we've seen the whole game. But he gets right back in the strike zone. He's very good at making the quick adjustments to pour pitches into the zone. Another one. And now he's going to punch him out. Probably elevated. Yeah, a little more elevated. No chance. See you later. And he's feeling it. He knows he's got every opportunity here to get the complete game shutout. So Miz enters the 9th, going the distance, and he's going to get a first pitch out on a changeup. Oh, my goodness. I guess he had a little more freedom to throw whatever he wanted here. 6-run lead, already lost the no-hitter. But, man, like, you can't teach the feel to be able to constantly be in the strike zone with everything when you've ripped this many fastballs. He's got an innate feel. I just really would love to know his process. I can't wait to ask him about it. All right, here's JT. 1 out here in the 9th, 101.6. So still pumping ridiculous amounts of gas. At this point, another 100 at the bottom of the zone. Here's 102.3. Gets the chase off the plate away. A lot of guys swinging out of hand here, not even considering that they can make a decision, just guessing. And then he does put 103 in play. A little chopper over to third. And we are down to our final batter. And he's going to finish it in style by striking out Crawford. And he goes to another level. I mean, it's insane. 103.7 here on pitch number 92 of this baseball game. Once again, a first pitch strike. I mean, really, I'd love to give you more analysis, guys. But all he's doing right here is taking out a giant rocket launcher and aiming it right at the Phillies dugout, and there's nothing they can do about it. They have absolutely no protection. So, going to finish it like he started it, with a barrage of fastballs above 103. I don't want to say this was a walk in the park, but considering how this fastball is playing to end the game, it kind of was. All right, so here's the final pitch of the night. 103.1 to complete the Maddux. 15 strikeouts. One of the most dominating games, honestly, in Major League history. It's a shame it wasn't a perfect game. Man, what can you say? He's on a different level, guys. Right now, this is the most dominating I think I can remember any pitcher. Jacob deGrom, Arrieta. I mean, this stretch, it's still a relatively small sample, but over the last month and change, which we're going to look at in a minute, he's allowed 1 run, and he's struck out a bazillion guys. So it's kind of crazy. This is the final pitch, once again from the side. Obviously, it's a big celebration, and again, I just think if you're a Phillies player, you're almost kind of like proud that you got to stand in the box in this game. It's really that impressive. All right, so let's do some takeaways from this game really quickly. So they put a couple balls technically in play hard. Let's see, 3, 1 on a fastball, 1 on a slider, 1 on a cutter. But overall, they were only able to put 12 balls in play and get 1 hit. Here's an incredible stat. Zone rate, 60% zone rate. A lot of times the best pitchers in the world would be like 43, 44% zone rate, believe it or not, because they're inducing so much chase. But he was in the zone all day long. And when he wasn't in the zone, they trusted him to be in the zone. So then they chased it 47% of the time. So 60% of the time he's in the zone, and then 50% of the time he's not in the zone. That other 40% they swung anyway. That equates to a 78% strike rate. Phenomenal numbers. It's as if he is a control pitcher, and he's not. Here's the velocity by inning: 103.7 in the first, 102.5 in the second, 102.3 in the third, 100.7 in the fourth, 100.5 in the fifth, 100.9 in the sixth, 100.7 in the seventh, 100.1 in the eighth. So he never dipped his average velocity in any inning on his fastball below 100. And then he said, "Oh, I got another gear still. I'll go to 102.6 for his second fastest inning of the day in the ninth to blow you away." I just don't really know how to process this outing. It's so different. Let's check out the pitch 3D from the Miz. Here it is. What's there really to say? A lot of fastballs above the zone that got swung at. Whole bunch of pitches in the zone. You know, you're looking for bad misses. There's almost no bad misses below the zone. Maybe this slider here, and there's a couple that he lost east-west. This one changeup, and this one. What's this? A cutter? But other than that, every single pitch is right in there. And let's go take a look at his game logs to show you the run that he's on right at this moment. This stretch of pitching, truly historic. So he gave up 3 runs in his last start of April versus the Pirates. He went 6 innings, 3 runs. Since then, he's allowed exactly 1 run in, let's see, 38 plus 16. So that's 54 and a third. He's allowed 1 run in his last 54 and a third. He's walked 9, and he has struck out 80. Walked 9, struck out 80 in the last 50 and a third with essentially half a base runner per inning, 0.51 whip combined. And in that time, he's only allowed 19 hits. 19 hits. How many extra base hits has he allowed this season would be my question, because I don't think it can be many. He's on the season now. He's pitched 87 innings, 131 strikeouts, 22 walks, 42 hits, 0.74 whip. So this is going to be an all-time National League Cy Young Award race. Christopher Sanchez off to a great start. Chris Sale, Shohei's lurking. But right now, your leader in the clubhouse, it just flipped tonight. It's Jacob Misiorowski, and I don't think there's really any debate about that. He's on pace to be close to 300 strikeouts if he keeps doing this. The hit total, it's something that we might have never seen before. As you can see, there's nothing he's bad at. Right now, this is as good as you can pitch. He's kind of breaking the game with this velocity. So curious what you guys think. Leave some stuff in the comments. A little bonus is that we're going to actually have Jacob on my show, Baseball and Coffee, on my live stream on this upcoming Wednesday. So you're watching this video right now on the 12th. So let's see, this is Friday the 12th. So Saturday's the 13th, Sunday's the 14th, Monday's the 15th, Tuesday's the 16th, Wednesday the 17th. He'll be on in the afternoon if you want to get in the chat and ask him some questions, or you could join my Discord, ask him some questions. It's going to be mostly technical stuff. Probably have him for about 15 to 30 minutes. Very excited to have him coming on, especially coming off of this outing. Who knew? But really cool. Man, we watched history tonight, guys. This was one of the more electric outings I've ever seen in my entire life. There's really not a lot of analysis. He throws stuff that's pretty much unhittable. That's a great lineup he faced. Never seen anything like it. So I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe if you would, and I'll catch you on the next episode of watching. Thank you very much. I'm going to put up my end screen here. You'll still hear me talking for a moment. Just throwing up my end screen here so you can get a glimpse of our stream schedule. Say one final goodbye. Have a great night, everybody.